You know, I like the way, Eric, you've asked it. As you talk about Coca-Cola, there is something we call intellectual property. M-Pesa is a protected signage name, and it's not based in Kenya. It's registered in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Do you know how much Safaricom Kenya Limited paid for the use of the M-Pesa brand? Do you know how much they paid?
How much did they pay?
Now, that will shock a lot of Kenyans, because sometimes back, Kenya paid, that's 2018, 2019, 2.7 billion shillings for the use of that.
Wow.
Yes. And that's intellectual
Property.
Let's get to where the rubber meets the road. Kenyan financial institutions, unfortunately, are like Shylocks, because they do not fund ideas. Why would you fund ideas when you have a possibility of making money without having to worry about risk? And why do I say this? Because in 2016, 2017, before the introduction of that interest capping law, Kenyan banks were returning in sub-Saharan Africa 24% of the initial investment. I mean, you know, this is what you call the measure on returns.
Yeah.
24% on average.
That means they double their money every 4 years.
Yes, it's like a pyramid scheme. And this is why it is lazy. It is lazy way of doing. There is a total disconnect between economics and banking in this country. These entities are managed and staffed with people who cannot think beyond the mechanics of pick money, led out. You know, they cannot think about startups. They cannot think about ideas, for example. And they do not even get it that they want to use the people who've made it in social media, the people with names, to market, but they cannot see the brand, what it took to make that brand. And they were never associated with those who associate themselves with Paul Terragat. Were they there when he was training? Were they funding his trips to train? Zero. Those who will join Bitok and say they want to advertise and be associated with him, are they here? No. But they will want to ride on, which is now a biggest problem. And the reason why they engage that way is because they make super profits at the expense of the growth of the economy. And you see, since most of these institutions are owned by foreigners, and even if they are local, they have a very large segment, or a large segment of the shareholding being foreign, the profits are repatriated. You know, that's now a net loss to our economy. That is a very, very big mistake we've done. But the way to go about it, as you said, sometimes is first for the government itself to even simplify the registration of novel ideas. Today, if you have a discovery in this country, how do you go about to the Kenya Industrial Property Office? It takes... You need a patent agent, you need so and so, you need a lot of intermediaries to register a novel idea. Now, remember that in those countries, they've made it easier to register those formulas.
Just this morning, I was asking myself, if a young student in Nairobi University, for example, came up with a vaccine for COVID-19, which is a real problem as we speak right now, how would he fund the idea? Where would he even start?
Yes, the first start would be having to register that idea as a novel discovery, okay, as an intellectual property, as something unique. It has not been there before. And there are registration of patents, trademarks, trade names happening every day. But the process is so lengthy and so difficult that I have friends who are in the manufacturing sector. In fact, I carry he manufactures food color. And he shows me how it is done. He only knows the temperatures you need to heat the chemicals. But he told me he tried explaining that to professors, even from Jomo Kenyatta University, professors of chemistry, and simply they could not understand. And because he left high school, they're asking him to write chemical formulas, and he told them, wherever I got this knowledge, you don't worry. But he was employed by somebody. He got some knowledge. He continues to use that knowledge unregistered.
Yeah.
And it has made him great. He's doing well.
Experiential learning.
Yes, experiential learning. But we've tried to, because anytime you get a roadblock, that he's told to produce the chemical formula of converting. But he tells his workers, I want this one heated to this one. This one heated at this point. Then he tells them, put a peso inside, remove, let me see the coloration. Stop, that is now done. He knows, but asking him to write down formulas, you think it's possible? And the people who wants to learn how it is done, what they tell him is, give us the secrets of the way it is done. And he told me over his dead body, he's not going to give anybody the secret. Now, why does that? It makes it very difficult for somebody to register a formula. And this is where I talked about the disconnect between academics and experience. Because this person
and the true economy.
Yeah, and the true economy.
Because my mom can make githeri every day, but she will not give you a recipe.
Yes.
She doesn't know how to make a recipe.
Yeah. But she knows.
But she makes the githeri.
And she knows when it is
githeri comes
cooked.
Yeah.
The same thing with the Bitox auntie. She will make good murusik, and when you taste it, it's good murusik.
Yeah.
So ask her to do a formula for murusik and write it down. It will not be possible. So we must also get high from the high horse and start focusing at the things our people are doing. Okay, so my friend Kimaro has continued to make his food color, sell it, trade, and he lives well, but there is nobody who is going to register. So who is going to fund it?
True.
You get now the difference.
I get the point.
So he has had to convert and now do other business, which looks now like maybe buy land, a house, then use it as collateral. Yet his idea, and I can tell you, he has competed with people from China, from India, and he beats them.
Which brings me to the last question I want to ask you before Bitok takes back his mantle.
No, the mantle yours, you ask.
Demystifying capital.
Yes.
You know, I've gone through the full cycle of education in this country. I am a proper 844 graduate. I can brag about that.
Yes.
Doing my master's in counseling psychology right now. And the full cycle of the 844 system has taught our young people that capital is only money. How do we go back to correct the script that tells the young people, you know, your talent can be your capital. Your past knowledge in your father's business can be your capital. Yeah, your ability to come up with an idea on how to solve a problem that is real in society can be your capital. How do we bring our people to understanding that money as a form of capital may be the last thing that you will actually need to grow your business, but you already have it? You gave an example of land. You know, people have a lot of ancestral land in this country, and land is a big issue in this country.
Yes.
Somebody has land that is next to a river in a very populated area. If you go to places like where I come from Gashie. You have Gashie, you have Wangige, you have Ruaka, and all these places. We have streams of rivers moving along our lands, and someone is sitting on an acre or a quarter of land. And this is land, this is water. This is a market called Ruaka where people are yearning for greens.
Yes.
How do we convince our young people that it is okay for you to put on the gumboots, put on the apron, go to your small piece of land and start planting sukuma wikis and taking them to the market, and that will help you penetrate the economy that you come from?
Eric, socialization. I have talked about funding people to, you know, essentially I'm funding. When I give you a cow or a heifer, I'm funding you. But I said you have to demonstrate that you can look after a goat for me to trust you with a heifer. But what our people trained, what are the educated people in this country doing? If you look at most people who left in the morning, if you are not wearing a tie and a suit, you are considered a failure in this country. That's number one. Now, yes, I am a lawyer. I don't have a court case today. When I came here the last time, I had a court session in the afternoon. So I need to wear that way. But when I'm like this is the way I should be.
Yeah.
Because this is what is comfortable. I will do my pleadings today. So how do we disconnect? It's a question of socialization. And even our pedagogy, our education philosophy. Because education is not just plain education. They should have a philosophy. I was telling Bitok the last time I was here that when I was a member of a board in a school and I chaired it, I not only gifted those who are in academics, I wanted the best footballer, the best comedian, the best dressed young man, the best athletes. For the best athletes, I'll shock you. Some of them are cops. You know, they have become inspectors of police.
Wow.
And you will meet them and they will salute and tell me, Chairman, you made us proud.
Yeah.
And because I knew that they want examples, I did not take academicians to the prize giving days. No, there were days I took a police sergeant and a police inspector.
Wow.
Because this is what the people are.
Yeah.
This is what they can see. This is what they identify with.
Yeah.
And I was telling these guys that, yes, they are academicians. There are those who will come, tell you, read. But not everybody has that intellectual capability.
Yeah.
But the problem with our education system is that we have put the degree as a very important thing, so that even to be a member of parliament, you require a degree.
Yeah.
To be an MCA, you require a degree. So what are we doing? So universities have come up with a way of selling them, because that's actually selling them.
Yeah.
You know, when you tell somebody you can spend some time here and we gift you a degree, you are selling papers. You are selling papers. If the structure, if the base is not good, if the grounding is not good, you cannot put a structure. How does somebody who, for example, managed D minus, then end up being holding a PhD? There must be something wrong. Either there was something wrong in the way we graded that person, or there is something wrong with the tertiary education.
Yeah.
And if somebody thinks that by getting an additional degree, they're going to get a job, then that's a mistake. And I when I meet graduates, I tell them, I have never studied upwards. No, I don't believe in vertical education.
Yeah.
I actually do it horizontally. If the skill gap I have is about human resource management, BTOC, that's what I'm going to study. I'm not going for a master's degree. No. If what I don't have is, so I will study diplomas. So my papers are many, and they are all relevant, because I look for a paper that is relevant to what I am doing and that adds value to what I am doing.
Yeah.
But remember, it is the doing first, not the paper first. But what we have in this country is the paper first. Why can't we even grant PhDs? We called Moi the professor of politics.
Yeah.
So how many degrees did he have? Very many honorary doctorates.
Yeah.
But did he manage this country for 24 years? Did the country sink? No. He saved this country. It survived. Were the boundaries of Kenya even contested at that time? No. Was Kenya not the haven of everybody around here? Ugandans, Ethiopians, everybody was running here?
Yeah.
Then that tells you that no, you did not. But have we had professors who have mismanaged counties? We have had professors who have been unable to manage CDF, 80 million, 100 million.
Yeah.
Why should we trust them with the country? Because they have a degree. So should the degree then be the basis of looking at people's ability to work? No. The United States has already changed that. Places like Germany, they're more into the technical know-how. This is why children in China are producing toys in grade 12.
And we are buying them here in
And
Africa.
we are buying them here.
Adults are buying it.
Adults are buying here. You know,
Children are
produced
making
by
them
children. Because the education system is based on to do or know to do, not know to memorize.
Prove you know on paper.
You know, to memorize. You know, and perhaps the experience I had is at the military, because instructor will tell you, instructor peke yake, demonstration. This is how you present arms. So then you tell lawyers, engineers, doctors, we were there, specialists, and you fail. And they tells you, sasa uko na degree na masomo mingi. Sasa hii masomo imekushida kuweka buduki hapa na kupiga mzuri.
Kiingereza mingi na
Kiingereza mingi. Then you learn there is a very big difference between the formal education and doing.
Yeah.
And this is now where the problem is. And we need to change even our pedagogy early in the year. You remember the song? So many vijana. Baada ya masomo utapata kazi nzuri sana. And that is now the logic that we have a problem. That since I have education, if I do pig farming, I'm going to do it very well.
Very well.
You know, I use the example of Waja.
Yeah.
If you find her on her computer,
Yeah.
her business is done scientifically because she has the knowledge.
The knowledge.
Let me shock you. Within a few years, she lives in her own house.
Wow.
Amazing.
You get?
You talk, you
Hey,
need
Wanja,
to,
she
you need
should
to
come
meet
here on
Wanja.
Monday.
Yes.
You should bring her on Monday.
Yeah, I will bring her.
Bring her on Monday.
Then you learn.
Sindio?
Bitok, we must ask Captain this question that we've been having. You know, as our generation, we have seen a lot of depression.
Yes.
You know, for people who are in midlife, for example. And I wanted to pick your mind on the issue of second chances.
Yes.
Issue of resilience and bouncing back. Just the other day, the newspaper gave us statistics that said that over 15 million Kenyans are listed by the credit reference bureaus. Yeah, and this points out to the fact that people have tried to do things and maybe they have failed in those things.
Yes.
And that is coming back to bite them. I would want to pick your mind on the issue of a society that embraces somebody who is looking for a second chance. This is someone who didn't do well in school, for example. This is someone who tried a marriage that didn't work. Yeah, this is someone who genuinely maybe they tried to start a business and the business did not do well. It looks like if you look at the mainstream institutions, for example, if you pick the financial institutions or if you pick even the legal systems, it is like there is no remedial policies that yes, this is someone who tried, is a genuine entrepreneur who tried, but maybe their business did not pick up for one reason or the other.
Yes.
It's like the system is set to just throw them away.
Condemn somebody to eternity.
Condemn to eternity. You know, you tried a business and it didn't work. You tried a marriage and it didn't work. And we have a big psychological problem now in society in trying to reignite these people to try again. What is it that you think that needs to be done from a policy perspective, from a conversation perspective, to encourage people to understand that it is okay to try and fail? I will tell you, Captain, that, for example, in our society, and we have a lot of business schools, a lot of people think that a business making a loss is a crime. There are very many people, if you told them that my business made a loss, they think that it is criminal. Yeah, how do we bring people to understanding that the process of making a business profitable is a journey? For example, I was reading the story of Alibaba Cloud over the weekend.
Yes.
And I found out that it has taken them 11 years, to be profitable. If you look at 11 years, a journey of 11 years, and they've had people investing in that business for 11 years, believing that one day they are going to turn a profit. If you look at Amazon, for example, they also took a number of years to be profitable. Facebook itself, before they turned the first profit, it took them about 5 years. I want to hear, Captain, how do we bring our institutions to understanding that you can support a business for 5 years, for 10 years, before it is profitable? I feel challenged. Why does it have to take a foreigner to come and discover oil in Turkana? Why does it have to take a foreign financial institution to finance that venture? Why is it that we are not able to understand that not every business is started in January and is making a profit in February?
Eric, you asking very cardinal questions, which brings me, as we fix it, to our main discussion on the MSMEs. How many MSMEs are in this country? We talk 7.5 million. Employing 7.5 million. Wow. And they grow by the day. Employing 15.2 million, adding 100,000 people to the employment. Now, these MSMEs, 50% of them do not see their second birthday. They die within the first year. Biggest challenge, access to credit. Biggest challenge, access to credit. The second biggest challenge, regulatory systems and government policies. Okay? Now, what is the problem that we have? Let's go back to what I said about the education system. I like to quote some of the guys who made it in business. Somebody said that most college degrees have no lessons in financial education. Most college degrees have no lessons in financial
education.
So somebody got a degree in science, in botany, but he has no knowledge he was not taught how that knowledge can be turned into money. Okay? And as you talked about discovery, we have people coming from foreigners coming into this country. We have geologists in our country. Who taught them, teaches them do our universities have a component for financial education? That would be the starting point. That there is no degree course that should not have, every degree course should have a component of financial education. But let's get back to the MSMEs. So after by the second birthday, 50% of them are dead. Financed mainly, how are they financed? Because you talked about the depression and the second chances. 40% of the SMEs are financed from family, personal, internal income, what somebody has saved.
Yeah.
Only 20% go for finance from banks. Another around 20% go to SACCOs. And SACCOs have played a bigger part.
Yeah.
Okay, because ni chama and they support each other.
Yeah.
The other almost 20% is using the mobile apps. You know, how much interest do the mobile apps charge? You know, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Some of them charge even 90%. In fact, the average is around 75%. If you borrow 10,000, you're going to pay 17,500. What kind of business is that?
It's
you know, it's Shylock.
yeah.
Why are our people doing that? It is because when you borrow money from relatives, there is that shame.
Yeah.
As you said, somebody will say you are a failure.
Yeah.
You did not succeed.
Yeah.
You go to the bank. Oh, the very first fact you mentioned that you failed. What people don't know is that failure is the experience you had. You will not repeat that which
you've learned. You've moved a step forward.
You've learned.
Yeah.
Okay? And you will not repeat.
Yeah.
Now, this second chances comes because the way our economy is structured is only to look at the people who are doing it, the multinationals.
Yeah.
How do you have a situation where this man who started a small business, he wants to make Madazi, put them in a paper and distribute them? He will need the same licenses with the multinational. He will need to comply with the same regulatory policies with the multinational.
Yeah.
Is that possible? That is
possible.
why these businesses collapse. Because we are not looking at ourselves. China, India, Japan have not developed by getting policies from outside.
Yeah.
They have developed because they have looked at what their people can do and tinkering their laws and policies, localize them to make them to business needs sustainability.
Yeah.
You see, I've talked about sustainability of the MSME.
Yeah.
Why is it not sustainable? Because you're making this individual comply with the difficult rules, licensing regulations, policies with the multinational.
Yeah.
It's not possible. They do not even have the expertise.
Yeah.
If you start your own business, for you to file returns, can you do it yourself?
No.
But Safaricom and you are supposed to do the same, isn't it? The form is the same.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
No.
If you're getting license from the city county, do you get a different license from them?
No.
Do you get a different one from the M-Pesa kiosk?
No.
You see where the problem is?
Yeah.
So in other words, we do not have a process of nurturing. Incubation and making these people grow.
Yeah.
And you remember there was a time somebody had come up with a single business permit.
Yeah.
But after all, at the end of the day, it was fought. And now you have a situation where, just look at a matatu. If you make a mistake, what is it? Gashie is in Kiambu.
Yeah.
But you're moving to Nairobi every day. You remember there was a tough between the governors.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have to pay Kiambu County and pay Nairobi
County.
So is the matatu in Kiambu useful if it has to get to Akabete and stop there because movement to Nairobi requires another license?
It breaks the intention of connectivity.
Yes.
Which is important for business.
Yeah. And these are the things we need to look at. That once you look into this, then you re-educate the people. That a failure, Gerald Ford tried how many times to be president?
Very many times.
Yeah. Though he has his own issues, you had Donald Trump trying so many things.
Yeah.
But finally he succeeded.
He did.
And
he will go down
resilience
as a one-time president.
Locally, if you want me to use a politician, the Honorable Muturi Kigano, MP for Kangema, has been contesting elections since 1974.
1974, I was not born.
You see, you are not born. But he contested in 74, 79. He never won. But he won recently. Did he give up?
From 1974?
4.
Wow.
Yes.
Guy.
So you see the question of our people wanting to give up.
Yeah.
And you see there is also the condemnation. I like what Bitok has come up with. You know, when we get people who succeeded from the odds, people who had no names, nobodies, the real hustlers coming to say their story, then anybody can succeed. Let me tell you, Eric, since my family had the last grass thatched house in the 90s in my village, when people see me in my village, and since I don't shy away, when young children, I give prizes to primary school kids. Once they see me, I am the reason that anybody can succeed.
True.
And I don't run away from that community. And that is me. I'm not going to run away from that history. There are people who would not invite me to their homes because sisi tulikuwa chini. Today they want you to make their events look glorious. You don't begrudge them. They were lucky. I would not begrudge anybody who was born into goodness. But however, I know it is possible to succeed. Okay? And this brings us to the ethos even of our society, even our language, the way we speak. I look at social media, and let me tell you, I'm dismayed. I have doing some work somewhere. The guys who work for me, I mean, they some are, sometimes you look at people, they tell you their level of education. I have to think, should this guy engage in this business? Can he help me in this construction? But along the way, I want to test him. If he can do something else, I will give him a higher a task that matches education. But I look at it and see people using very crude language against the lowest segments of our community, especially in Facebook. You have somebody telling you, so will you give your girlfriend a wheelbarrow? You see, because the wheelbarrow has come to be associated with something. And I actually want to use it because I have seen people insult the very lower segments of our society. Eric, when I was growing up, my father did not have one. I confess that.
We used to borrow one from the neighbor.
So I also used to borrow from neighbors. So if I got somebody to give it to me then,
it was a status symbol.
It was a status
They
symbol.
even have a wheelbarrow.
Even bicycle. You get. So when you insult people with it, please know that you are talking to the majority of the citizens. Now these guys who work for me, during this, tunaita siku ya koroga. Siku ya koroga, nobody, it's a question of chanting and pushing it. So it's done speedily so that koroga lazima iishe. Isipoisha asubuhi inaendelea mpaka midnight because you don't stop at the middle. You must finish the slab. So these guys need to borrow and to get these wheelbarrows. Do you know they are hiring them? Ile ya koroga is 100 shillings because we also pay them higher. So when you insult and talk about wheelbarrow, it actually shows your depth of thinking. You don't have anything in your head. If you a tool of work is you are associating it. You are insulting the very people at the lowest ladder of society. These guys pay for it 100. Do you think Bitok they don't need to save that 100? That 100 buys them half kilogram of unga. It also buys them some tomato and some skuma wiki. They would have saved that, but they did not save that because they need to pay 100. The days when now you also doing the walling, you mix the sand and the cement, you need that wheelbarrow is that day's hard for 50 shillings. And there are people who are making this business in Gikomba. In Gikomba, there are people who hire out mkokoteni daily at 100 shillings. Others 200. Others hire out that trolley you are calling, you are insulting. And so they don't even focus on the tool. Please focus on the people who use the tool. Dignify their hustle.
That is now the SMME.
Yes, MSME. Because dignify what they do. Because that person wakes up at 6. Even to line up.
And that wheelbarrow is their factor of production. That is
their factor of production. Without that tool, I can assure you, nobody is going to hire him at the Koroga. So when you start saying, and that is the kind of fundamentals we need to think about. Let's get to the basics. What are the basics that people need? Is this tool useful? Gong Road here, everybody selling the sweet banana is using that tool. So you when you say, oh, so mulitajirika, so now have you succeeded because you have it? That person has spent their own money. You know, if you ask people where they can even get that wheel that is used for wheelbarrow, do you know where to get it, Bitok? I can take you along Joko Road. It is made by, there is a graduate I know of a Bachelor of Technology, Moi University, a good friend of mine. He makes those wheels, okay, near Bama Market. That is the industry that feeds him.
Yeah.
Are you also insulting him that he is very unwise because you are telling him he's making? It's because that tool is required for work. Unless, of course, you want us to buy the carcinogenic ones.
Yeah.
At 100,000.
At 100,000. But the person who needs it needs to use it. Please respect the work he does. Respect that he wakes up to go and do that work. Encourage him that today you are using this. Tomorrow you will get something else. Utanunua gurumala ile kutengeneza wall. But we cannot at all the time be looking down and belittling
this person.
Captain, there's something as well, Erico, even as I give it to you as well back. There's something you had mentioned earlier, because I was saying time. The two things you mentioned, one of them, I want to give it a multi-throng. One, education. We've rounded around education so much. And there seems to be a very serious obsession with Kenyan businesses and government with papers. I mean, when someone says, I want a job, ulisomea nini? Wapi makaratasi zako. And so you find a lot of CVs are even being used kuasha jiko. When you go to downtown, ukinunua njugu, siku moja utapatana na CV yako imefungiwa njugu. CV yako inarudika unaona ukienda kufungua unasema, "Hey, here Captain Collins Wanderi nilikuwa natuma application government, Ministry of Interior, whatever it is." You find your CV in the CPD. There seems to be so much obsession with papers to an extent that we overlook the ability of that person to work. And this is something I never look at personally, because there are a lot of people who can do crazy things, but they don't have any documents because they have learned from the best. This thing I'm doing, I never went to journalism school. But if I was to go around asking for a journalism job, they would never have given me. They've told me, "Why your papers in journalism? Which school did you go to study journalism?" You got it. But I mean, where I sit, even the guys who have gone to school would ask, "Hey man, you're doing a good job. Which school did you go to?" It means they are recognizing that you can do it. There seems to be a serious obsession on what papers people have. I want you to look at that. Two is about the help. The other day I was hearing the young people saying, if you guys are giving the MCAs this and this to do this, we also want our help loans to be wiped off and we start afresh. People have gone to school. They have gotten their degrees, but their legs are still tied up with chains. Still attached to where they have come from. Like, yes, you've finished school, but remember, we are waiting for you to make money. Anytime you make a shilling, they're on your neck. You want back the money. What is the burden of help? That is number two. Number three, how do we now revolutionize our sectors to identify and understand that an economy can be moved by apprenticeship? Long time ago, I never used to go to school. We could sit with your grandfather if he was a blacksmith, and you learn how to kata hizi machuma. You'd sit with your grandmother if she's an herbalist, and you'd learn how to do herbs. You know, utajua hii miti inafanya hii miti inafanya. When you show the next person, they cannot know what it does, but you know because you've learned from the best. How do we harmonize all these three things to ensure that we have a society that's very functional? Because there are people who have not gone to school, but they can do business. They can run business. There are people who have not gone to school, but there's something they can innovate around, practically. How do we harmonize these three things around the education sector?